Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
It's really a privilege and honor to present you this mini workshop on goal setting. How are you doing today?
Fine.
Fine?
Yeah, the weather is nice.
Yeah, it's a Vancouver weather. I brought it with me.
This is exceptional in Riyadh.
Yeah, I know that. So do you want to have some fun in the next 1 hour? Or do you just want to listen to a boring presentation?
Need to have fun.
Need to fun? Great. I promise you will be having a lot of fun and learning in the next 1 hour. So let me start by asking you a question. It's not a simple question, there is a prize for this. So the first person to answer me this question would get this box of chocolate.
The whole box.
It's a whole box.
He has to share it with the other group.
Yeah, right? That is the prerogative. So I'll show you a photograph of a person and you are going to guess the name of that gentleman. So raise your hand if you know the name, and the first person to tell the name would get the prize. Good try. Any other tries?
Sulaiman Salam.
I never knew that you were doing this thing. Other guesses? You? Me? Oh, I look like that? No.
How about giving the name of the animal without the box?
No. Well, you will get that a chance. I'll give you. Let me give you a small hint, so you may be able to get the answer. So it's a small clip without voice. Just watch it. Come from the other gate.
Hi, sir.
Okay, can you guess the name now?
I'm not sure.
Shooter.
She's an archer, as you can see. Oh, too bad. No one was able to win this box. But don't worry. We'll use it for some other question. I'm not going to take it with me. Okay, so somebody is going to win this thing. The name of the gentleman is Howard Hill. Howard Hill was the greatest archer of the modern time. He entered into 286 archery tournaments and won all of those 286 tournaments. He has killed a buffalo, the toughest of the game animals, with a bow and arrow. He also killed a Bengal tiger and an African elephant with a bow and arrow. He killed a 15-feet shark under 18 feet of water with the help of bow and arrow. He killed many game animals with bow and arrow. From a distance of 50 feet, he will take an arrow and will hit the bullseye dead center, just like this. And then he will take another arrow and will split the first arrow, just like this. An amazing demonstration of skill. Howard Hill was the greatest marksman of his time. Now, I have not shot bow and arrow professionally in my life, but I am an instructor par excellence. This is French, which means I'm good. In fact, I claim to be so good that I can take any one of you, spend 20 minutes with you, and if your eyesight is okay and your health is fine, at the end of 20 minutes, I can make any one of you to hit the bullseye more consistently than Howard Hill could have done it in the best year of his life. Provided, of course, we first blindfold Howard Hill and then turn him around a couple of times so that he does not have any clue which direction he is facing. Of course, you will beat him. You would say, that's true, of course, but it's a very silly example. How on earth anybody can hit a target which he cannot even see? That's a pretty good question. Here's one even better. How can someone hit a target which he even don't have? Have you got your targets? Do you have clearly defined goals? Do you know where you want to reach? These are the questions we'll be discussing today. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Aamir Shamim. I am a senior consultant with Life Skills Studio. It is a Canadian consultancy that specializes in the training of presentation and other soft skills. I'm based in Vancouver, Canada. And as Mr. Salama said, that currently I am in Riyadh on a consulting assignment. I'll be here for another 1 week, and then I'll be leaving for Vancouver. By the way, as a matter of curiosity, have anyone visited Vancouver? Too cold? No, it's not very cold. Canada is cold, but Vancouver is not cold. Let me just show you where we are. At the moment, we are here somewhere in Riyadh. Vancouver is on the other side of the planet on western coast of Canada. It took me 20 hours to fly from Vancouver to Riyadh. And there is an 11 hours time difference between the two cities. So it's just on the opposite side of the globe. But it's a beautiful place. And just to share how does it look like, here is an aerial view of Vancouver. As you can see, it's a beautiful place with mountains, with the ocean, and we have a rainforest down in the downtown, the only place in the world where there is a rainforest in the downtown. I'm lucky to be living here because according to a recent UNO study, Vancouver is considered to be the second best place to live in the world after Geneva. So that's where I'm based. Let me give you a quick summary of my credentials. Just like you, I am a trainer at heart. I specialize in the coaching of public speaking and presentation skills, and I learned my training skills from some good consultants in the world. Some of them are listed in the slide, including CI Consult of Ireland, Confident Presentations in UK, McGill University, and University of British Columbia, again in Canada. From the educational standpoint, I'm a medical doctor and have a master's from McGill University in Business Administration. I have 15 years of experience in marketing and general administration, but training and development had always been one of my core responsibilities. I have worked in 3 different countries, and I'm glad to share with you, because you're my fellow trainers, that I have trained hundreds of business professionals coming from different walks of life, including doctors, engineers, computer scientists, who have to go for different international congresses. That's who I am. Now let's have a look what we'll be doing today. Basically, I'll be discussing 3 things today. The first thing is why it's important to set your goals. What's the fuss about it? Second, we'll see why so many people fail to set their goals properly. And finally, I'll give you the magic formula, which is a step-by-step approach to help you in setting your goals and then achieving those goals. So that's what we'll be doing today. A couple of ground rules before that. First, I'll be giving you printouts of my slides at the end of my presentation, so you don't have to copy the slides. However, I encourage you to take notes because not everything is on the slides. So something which is not on the slide, you may take notes. Second, I'll request you to put your cell phones on the silent mode so that we can concentrate on the learning in the next 1 hour. And third, if you have any questions during my presentation, you can either stop me right there, or you may wait till the end of presentation when we'll have a separate question and answer session. Inshallah, I'll be able to answer most of your questions, but just like no one knows everything, and that includes me. But I promise if I don't know anything, I will find the answer for you. Sound fair?
Sounds good.
Okay. So let's start and see why it's important to have goals. Ladies and gentlemen, the evidence is absolutely overwhelming You need to have goals. There have been several studies conducted all over the world to show the importance of goal setting in our life. But I would like to quote you just one specific study which was conducted in Yale University. Yale University, you might know, is one of the best universities in the world. In 1953, Yale University conducted a study on their graduating seniors. And what they discovered was that out of those seniors, only 3% had well-defined written goals, and they had taken all the steps required for proper goal setting. Other 97% just had a vague idea in their head about their goals. Now please understand, everybody has goals. For example, one of your goals while sitting here is to listen to this presentation. Another of your goals this morning was to come to the hospital, to your office. But we need to be more involved in our goals if we want to take the best advantage from them. In 1973, they conducted another study at Yale. This time they followed those graduates who had passed in 1953. And in two of the parameters in which they could actually measure their financial accomplishments and their career accomplishment, the result was that those 3% who had well-defined written goals had outperformed the rest of 97% combined. You need to have goals. Now, a lot of people will say that they don't have time to set their goals. I can assure you that in 99% of cases, it's not lack of time, it's lack of direction. Direction creates time and motivation creates energy. Let me give you an example of processionary caterpillars. You might have seen these caterpillars on oak trees or pine trees. The reason they are called processionary caterpillars is that they follow each other. So one caterpillar will follow the others, third will follow the second. In this way they walk or crawl like in a procession, and they will form a single column which is many meters long. So that's why they are called processionary caterpillars. A few years ago, the French naturalist Jean-Henri Fabre, he conducted a series of experiments on these processionary caterpillars. So what he did was, he took a flower pot, put it in the center, and then lined these caterpillars around it in such a way to form a never-ending circle. Let me draw it for you. So here in the second center is the flower pot, and here are the caterpillars lying in a circle. And then he took some pine needles and put them in the center of flower pot. Mind you, these pine needles is a food for caterpillars. The caterpillars kept on following each other for full 24 hours. Then for full 48 hours. Then for full 1 week, days and night. They kept on going round and 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 round until they literally dropped dead because of exhaustion and starvation, with an abundance of their favorite food just 6 inches away. You know why? Because they confused activity with accomplishment. A lot of people do the same thing. They confuse activity with accomplishment. In the home, they are thinking about the work. Oh, I have to go to the office. So when they will reach office, they will think, oh, I have to spend more time with the family. I should go back and spend some time, quality time with my family. When they come home, oh, I have so much pending job to do at the home, at the office. And they will come back to the office. And next day, repeat the cycle. No doubt they don't have any time. They're always traveling between home and the office. They confuse activity with accomplishment. They don't have a direction. Direction comes with well-defined goals. Here's another quiz for you. Anyone can give me the name of this gentleman? Another chance to win the chocolate.
Jim Henry.
John Henry? No. You're guessing it from there? No. I could not have given it away. Okay, the name of the gentleman is Sir Edmund Hillary.
There's a
Sorry?
there's a Hillary.
That's Hillary.
Do you know who is? Okay. Edmund Hillary was the first human being to climb Mount Everest, tallest mountain on earth. Can you imagine him coming down that mountain and an approacher approaches him and asks, Bishani, could you please tell me, how did you climb the tallest mountain on earth? How did you do that? Do you think for a moment that he would have said, well, I don't know, I was just walking around? You need to have very well-defined specific goals. The evidence is absolutely overwhelming. You need to have well-defined goals. You cannot make it as a wandering generality. You must become a meaningful specific. Now the question is, if the goal setting is so important, why so many people fail to set their goals? Let me explain. There are three main reasons why people don't set their goals. The first reason is because they have fear, spelled as F-E-A-R, but this is an acronym for false evidence appearing real. So many millions of people have been conditioned to believe that there is no point in setting their goals, because over the course of time, nothing good is going to happen to them. They have been told many times that there is no point in working. It's never going to happen. You can't make it. The input has basically been negative in their minds. Shad Hamstetter in his book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself, has said that on an average 18-year-old person is told 148,000 times, no, or you can't do it. 77% of our self-talk is negative. Dr. J. Allen Peterson in his book, The Myth of the Greener Grass, has written that over 90% of our daily input in our mind is of negative nature. That's why many people don't set their goals. They have accumulated some false evidence in their minds, but it appears real, and they act accordingly. Since it appears real, it has the same impact as if it were real. And all of us know that perception is reality. For example, I can walk into just any bank in North America with just a handkerchief and I can rob that bank. What I have to do is put this handkerchief on my face, put my hand in my pocket, point to the teller, give me your money. The evidence would be false, but it would appear real to the teller, and he would handle it if there was a real gun in my pocket. Now I may cut short when I'm going out, but at least the teller will give me the money. Similarly, you might have heard the case of a young Cuban who was able to hijack a plane with just a bar of soap. A few years ago, you might have heard this incident. So what he did was, he took a bar of soap, put it in a box, took it to the captain and said, I have a bomb. Take the plane to Cuba. Pilot took the plane to Cuba. The evidence was false, but it appeared real to the pilot. This is the first reason why many people don't set their goals. Fear keeps them away from setting their goals. The second reason why people don't set their goals is that they have a very poor self-image of themselves in their minds. They cannot think in the wildest imagination of becoming college graduates, or getting that perfect job, or living in a nice home, or winning that ideal mate. They cannot imagine themselves to be financially successful. Their poor self-image won't let them get there. Now please understand, we act according to the self-image that we have implanted in our minds. Positive talk won't work on a person who is negative to himself. We need to have a positive self-image of ourselves in our minds. The third reason why people don't set their goals is they don't know how. Nobody has ever told them that how to set their goals. This course is not available in university, school, college, anywhere. As a matter of curiosity, how many people in this room had any formal training on goal setting? None? Indirect. So maybe a couple of person out among 10.
There was a book by Rashid, I think, translated exactly from that, where you can imagine that if you achieve this goal, what will that give you, as if it is real. So this will initiate the positivity in you, so that you will try. For example, if you have a car, imagine that you have this car. What are you going to do with it? So I will go and save time. Then after you save time, what you will get out of saving time? Probably work this lecture or that lecture. After you accomplish, and then you will start to accomplish that lecture.
Absolutely right. So we have like 2 people in this room out of among. You had some training?
Yeah, in South Africa we have the outcomes-based education for education, schooling and tertiary education. And life orientation is one of the subjects, and it entails goal setting, but it's been within the borders of goal setting for education, how to set your goals within education to be successful at school and university, whatever.
Great. So you see, very few of you had any formal training, and that proves this particular point that people don't set their goals. They have never been informed how to set their goals properly. And that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to give you a step-by-step formula by which you can set your goals. But before that, I have some good news and some bad news for you. What do you want first?
The bad news.
The bad news? Okay. The bad news is, if you really get involved in your goal setting process, it's going to take you anywhere from 10 to 20 hours to set your goals properly. If you have a complex set of goals, it might take you 30 hours. That's another reason why many people don't set their goals, because it's such a tremendous time investment. This is the bad news. Now there are 2 bits of good news which goes with it. First, I can assure you that if you set your goals properly, you would create for yourself an additional 3 to 10 hours every week for the rest of your life. The good news is that this process will give you an awful lot of time for the activities you really enjoy. The process will give you control of your time. The rest of the good news is this. If you know how to set your one goal, you will also know how to set your all goals. When you have learned how to set your financial goals, you will also learn how to set your physical, emotional, or educational goals. Because there is a formula and there is a procedure attached to it. If I ask you, okay, what is the answer of 5,439 multiplied by 375? The chances are very few of you can come up with the answer just by calculating in your head, right? But if I ask you to write it down, every one of you will be able to give me the answer in a few seconds, because you know the formula for that. In fact, let's do this exercise, because we have to give away this chocolate box. Do this exercise. I made grade 2 question. The first person to give me the correct answer will get the box of chocolate.
Okay, I'm off this because I don't want to get chocolate.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Correct answer.
$2,000,000
that 29,651.
Great.
25.
You are second. He is the first one to give the right answer.
But he said 52. It should be 25.
I think it's at 25.
Yeah.
I think it's it. Give him a round of applause.
Samuel, give it to the hole.
Please come here. There is no energy in this room. Give him a round of applause. He's going to share this thing with us. Thank you very much. So this is for his mathematical genius and as well as for thanking him in advance in sharing this thing at the end of the presentation. Okay. Now let me walk you through the goal setting process step by step. There are 7 steps in goal setting. Okay? And the process starts with, first of all, identifying your goals. What are the things you would like to achieve in this world? In the second step, you will set up some realistic timelines for your goals. You will list the obstacles you have to overcome. You will also list the different people who can help you in achieving your goals. You will list the skills required to achieve your goals. You will also make an action plan, a detailed action plan for each of your goals. And then finally, you will list the benefits of achieving those goals. So this is a 7-step formula which you should be following when you are working on your goals. I have created a template for you. Please pass on. Initially, I told you this formula, this is called a 7x7 formula because there are 7 steps in setting your goals. And secondly, there are 7 different types of goals. As you can see in this sheet, there are 7 different types of goals you need to have. And just to give you some ideas, let me tell you what type of goals you will be looking at. First of all, you will be having your health goals, like appearance, medical checkups, exercise program, weight control, nutrition. Of course, you need to have family goals, like time together, good role model, forgiving attitude. Everyone is familiar with the financial objectives. So your investment plans, your planning for the marriage of the kids, and so on. You need to have social goals, like sense of humor, listening habits, your manners, your caring attitude. You also need to have some spiritual goals. For example, inner peace, sense of purpose, prayer, religious study, and so on. The mental goals are also important. Communication, reading, imagination, attitude. And then finally your career goals. For example, job satisfaction, effectiveness, training, and so on. So these are some of the ideas from where you can build up your goals, just to stimulate your mind. As I said earlier, this process is going to take you anywhere from 10 to 20 hours. But you can start this process as soon as possible, maybe the free time you have this morning, or maybe when you go home. So this will be your first starting point, that you write down all possible goals you can have in your mind. At this stage, I would recommend, don't restrict yourself in terms of number of goals. This is like a dream sheet. Think of everything under these 7 headings. In order to have a well-balanced life, you need to have goals in all these areas. Many people will just work for the money, they just have financial goals, nothing else. That's not a balanced life. To have a balanced life, you need to have goals in all those areas. So once you have completed this sheet, with just like your dream sheet, put it aside for at least 24 to 48 hours. Let it cool down. And then after 1 or 2 days, come back to this sheet. Now you pick up 2 to 3 goals under each heading which you really want to achieve first. Let's be realistic. You won't be able to achieve everything in one go. So be realistic and pick up just 2 to 3 goals, important goals from each category. Once you complete one goal, you can always replace it with a new one from your dream sheet. And the reason I'm emphasizing again and again writing your goals is that there have been studies conducted to to show that when you write your goals, somehow magically things start happening in the right direction. As if the heavens were conspiring to help you to achieve your goals. Nobody knows the reason, but this is a given fact. It has been seen in the studies that if you write your goals, the probability of achieving your goals is tremendously increased. So once you have your now final sheet with 2 to 3 goals, for every shortlisted goal, ask yourself 5 questions. First, is it my goal? Many a time we are working on a goal which is not ours, it is our friends or maybe parents' goal. There is no harm in having the same goal as of your parents, but you need to know it is your goal as well. Second, you need to know, is it a morally right goal? Don't go for the immoral goals, because you know more than me what's going to happen for an immoral goals. Third, are my short-term goals in line with my long-term objectives? There should not be a conflict. Fourth, can I emotionally commit to my goals? And finally, can I visualize myself reaching my goals, as you were referring to earlier? Can you, in your mind, visualize that you have achieved your goals? If the answer to all these 5 questions is yes, you are ready to move to the next step of the goal setting process. If the answer to some of them is no, you may need to go back to a drawing board and reevaluate your goals. This is the first step when you are setting your goals. The second step in this process is to set some realistic deadlines. You see, if you say that I want to reduce my waistline by 2 inches, this is not a goal. This is a wishful thinking. It's a hope. But when you attach a timeline, you say that I want to reduce my waistline by 2 inches or 3 inches in the next 6 months, now it's a goal. You might have heard that we need to have SMART goals, and SMART is basically an acronym for simple, measurable, authentic, result-oriented, and time-bound. And as you can see, one of the important criteria here is time-bound. So at this step, you will put the start date and end date of your goals, and I would also recommend to put some intermediate periodic review dates in between. And at this stage, you will divide your goals into short-term and long-term goals. Short-term are generally from 6 months to 12 months duration, and long-term goals are generally from 3 to 5 years, or maybe up to 10 years duration. This is step number 2. In the next step, you will list the obstacles you will face when you are working on your goals. Let's face it, nothing worthwhile is ever achieved in this world without facing resistance. An airplane would not even fly if it does not face the resistance of incoming wind. Important thing is to be aware of those resistance and those obstacles. That's why you need to list them so you can make an action plan to overcome. Very practical and very realistic thing. In the next step, once you have listed your obstacles, this is a time now to list the persons who can help you in achieving your goals. You achieve your goals with the help of other people. How many of you have seen the flock of Canadian geese flying together? Show hands like this. You have seen? Sometimes
Most of them migrating birds.
migrating birds. If you watch closely these Canadian geese, many birds do that, but they're like this formation is more famous for Canadian geese. You will notice 3 things about these geese. First is that they always fly in a V formation. Second, one leg of V is generally longer than the other one. And third, there seems to be some confusion in the flock from time to time. Now, how many of you have ever wondered why the one leg of V is longer than the other?
So they know the direction for
So there is evidence now that usually they change direction according to the sunset and sunrise. and that has a relation with the magnetic fields and the orientation of the brain of this person.
That is one of the hypotheses. Let me explain you. It's a very simple explanation. One leg is longer because it has more birds in it. No, I'm just kidding here. The scientists are still trying to figure out the reason for that. As you have said, this is one of the hypotheses. They have not figured out the answer as yet. But they have figured out the answer for the other two things which I just mentioned. The reason these birds fly in a V formation is that scientists have discovered in the wind tunnel test that V formation allows them to fly approximately 70% farther than if they were flying alone. They increase their range by approximately 70%. And the reason there seems to be some confusion in the flock is that they have a rotating leadership. You see, this bird in the center, it has to face the most resistance of the incoming wind, and it gets tired very quickly. So after getting tired, it goes to one of the legs of V, where the resistance is relatively low, and another bird will take its position. In this way, they help each other in achieving their common goal. Teamwork. It's a team effort. You too achieve your goals with the help of other people and by becoming team players. That is the reason to list the people who will be helping you in achieving your goals. That is step number 4. In the next step, you list the different skills you need to acquire to achieve your goals. You see, in some of your goals, you may need to upgrade or learn new skills. Suppose one of your goals here is maybe to become a golf champion of this hospital, King Faisal Hospital, special hospital. Now, if you have never played golf in your life, it will make sense to take some golf lessons, right? Similarly, if you want to, let's say, teach accounting and you don't have an accounting background, it will make sense to say take some evening classes on accounting. So these skills may not be relevant, new skills may not be relevant to all of your goals, but wherever they are relevant, list them so that you can make a plan to acquire them. And that brings to the next step, which is developing an action plan. At this step, you will pick up each of your goals, those shortlisted 2 to 3 goals under each heading, and then you will make a detailed action plan, how you will be achieving it. You will break that goal into individual activities, and those activities will then be broken into daily routines, which will be on your agenda or on your computer, whatever method you use for your time management. Here's an example. Suppose one of your healthcare goals is to reduce your weight from 80 kilograms to 70 kilograms in 6 months. Now, your activity sheet or action plan may look something like this. Avoid fat, add salad to the food, eat only fruits at lunch, drink 3 bottles of water, drink only diet drinks, use stairs in the office, and so on. These are just the guidelines. You will be having your own action plan if you have a similar goal. This is step number 6. And finally, at the last stage, you will list the benefits of achieving your goals. You see, whatever people tell us, our mind is always tuned into one radio station. And that radio station is called WIIFM. Anyone has heard the name of this radio station? No?
WIFM.
WIIFM. No? It's called What's in It for Me radio station. What's in it for me? What's in it for me, FM. So we need to find out why we should be working on that goal. So you need to list the benefits of achieving that particular goal. The more benefits you have, the greater will be the motivation to go for your goals. Once you complete all these steps, your final goal setting template will look something like this. Here I have created it for your short-term objectives for the year 2007. We are in February, so I'm starting it in February. We just started. In this side, you have your 7 goals, 7 types: health, family, financial, social, spiritual, mental, and career. And on this side, we have this 7x7 formula, like your start and end date with the periodic reviews, your obstacles, players, skills needed, action plan, and what's in it for me. So when you have done all the steps, this is how your goal setting template will look like. Everybody has it? So the same template which I am showing here. For practical reasons, I would suggest you not to write everything on the paper. You should be creating an Excel template for that. And I did create an Excel template for you, which I'll show you. If you like, I can email it to you so that all of you can benefit from it. And this will give you the flexibility of adding or deleting your goals. And you can vary the length and width of different columns to suit your need, because it will be a long sheet. And then you can hide certain columns and then take the printout as per your needs.
I think it would be a very good idea if we can pass it to Amal, and Amal can create it all.
Sure.
Regarding the slides and the sheets too.
Sure. Please give me your email.
Sure.
I'll send you the template. So this is the template which is very handy. I use the same template for myself. And I have found it to be very, very useful, because then every month you know the review. You will come on the first of, let's say, every month. You will look at your goals and activities, and at the end you might have a comments column where you can write down that I have accomplished it, or is it in the progress, or no, I replaced it with some other goal, circumstances change, or whatever the case may be. So it's a very good handy tool to basically monitor the progress of your goals. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, today we have seen that goal setting process is basically a scientific process which consists of 7 steps. If you follow these steps logical step, you will also be able to achieve your objective. It's a proven process and many people have benefited from it. Important thing is, as I said, that there is an overwhelming evidence that you need to have well-defined goal. At the end, I would like to give you a short story here. Many years ago, a young sailor was at sea. These were the days of sailing ships. The young sailor climbed up the ladder to fix a mast. But the turbulence of sea combined with the roll of ships made him nauseated, and he started to lose his balance. An older sailor down on the deck, he cried, "Look up, son, look up!" The young sailor looked up and immediately regained his balance. The message is this: during your goal setting and achieving process, there would be times when the outlook may not be so good, that may discourage you. When the outlook is not so good, try the outlook. It's always good. I would like to leave you with a quote from Helen Keller, who so eloquently described the same thing when she said, "When you look at the sun, you will seldom see any shadows." I thank you very much for your attention, and now we have around 10 minutes for the Q&A, but I will be available after the session if there are additional questions, or it's just like a discussion session. You don't have to necessarily ask a question. You can give your comments, share your thoughts, whatever you like.
What if I comment actually? You said something about when you write your goals, that things start to go together to achieve this goal for unknown reasons. But I believe it's like when you write your goals, it's like a commitment. You believe inside you that you are committed to do this thing. This is the reason, I think.
Maybe. it's quite possible, it's a very logical explanation that when you write your goals, you become committed to them. You know, an interesting thing is that they noticed that when you write down your goals, even the people who did not follow all those scientific steps, they just wrote their goals. And somehow the things started moving in the right direction. I was listening to a tape, he's a big financial guy in the States, and he gave this example. He said that that when we were going to be married, I was with my girlfriend, and she wrote some goals for her, and in her goals, there were 2 goals for me. And surprisingly, after many years, they found that page which they had on a New Year Eve after 5 years, and they noticed that somehow he had also achieved his goals. It's amazing. Like, it's my personal experience as well. When I listened to that tape a few years ago, he said, okay, do this exercise. Take a piece of paper and write down your 3 financial short-term goals in the next 3 months. So I stopped that tape, wrote it down, and can you believe me? After 3 months, I achieved those goals, which looked like very far off from achieving in those 3 short months. So this is something really amazing. Do try it.
Do you have your own personal goals?
Yes, I do have. I have a very detailed sheet for it.
Every year you do revise it,
Yeah.
update it?
Exactly. In fact, I have the 2 templates. One is the short term. Short term, I use the same template which I am giving you. Long term is also similar, but of course the duration is different. Here I am reviewing it on a monthly basis. Long term, you review it on a maybe yearly basis. I do have worksheet. Yes.
Well, actually, what you were kind of number one, I want to appreciate your presentation and the back of a good deal of knowledge we gained from this. I came across a book, again, probably the same title, How to Plan Your Life. And it said, if this book is the sole book that you have ever read during the last 1,000 years, that would be enough.
Okay.
I think according to that book, I believe it's a translation. Well, before you set your goals, there should be some sort of a mission which your goals will lead you to. I mean, number one, if you get improve yourself financially, you get your marriage. There is something beyond that in the further step. I don't know whether you agree with that or not.
I totally agree with you. I am glad you brought up that point.
Yes.
In this short time, I could not have covered that.
Yes.
But basically, it's a 3-step process. I'm glad we are bringing it up. So today I covered this thing.
Exactly.
Okay? So before that, there's a purpose and there's a vision. The first thing to identify in this case, let me just briefly tell you because we don't have the time to discuss it in detail, but the first step in all this process is your purpose. You need to identify what is your basic purpose in this life. It doesn't matter how did you come to this world, but just like DNA fingerprinting, as if your fingers are meant to do something, you are meant to do something in this world. The first thing is to identify your main purpose in this life. What do you want to do? What are the things which make you happy? Is it painting a picture? Is it working on the computer? Is it teaching? Is it speaking to other people? Once you know that, then you work on the vision. Vision is like just like you are planning a trip from, let's say, Riyadh to Makkah, and you visualize, okay, I have to go in this way, I'll be taking a car, these are the cities in between it which will be coming. This is kind of your vision. Your basic purpose does not change. You may have to modify your vision to achieve your goals. And then for that vision, you will have your goals. Okay, I need to get a car, I need to get it fueled, I need to take the eatables, I need to make reservations for the hotels. All those are the activity sheets. Very good point. These 2 steps has to be done before you can reach you can work on your goals. But because this was a small mini workshop, so I did just cover the main goal section.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Doctor, is there any technique to change goals? For example, when you are doing your goals and suddenly something happens, makes you change the goal. For example, a Christian that his goal is to be a father worker, and suddenly he converts to Islam. There is any technique, or for example, one is putting in his mind a career or a job, and suddenly something happens will make him change the job. Is there a technique to change the goals without?
I'm glad you asked this question. The question is that is there a technique to change the goals? Generally, we don't change our goals. We change our strategy to reach those goals.
Just redefine your goal.
Not really redefining. Your goal remains the same. You will face the obstacles. As they say that we cannot change the direction of winds, but we can always change the direction of our sails to reach our destination. You have to reach your destination. So when you face resistance, you may take another course to reach that thing. So if you are firm, if you have a firm commitment for your goal, you will reach there. You may have to chart out a different strategy to reach there. So I would suggest, one, you have done all those exercises, all the steps you have taken, you have done all the homework, don't change your goals. Change your strategy if it is required. Your activity sheets, daily activities might be modified, but don't change your goals. Only then you will have the commitment to reach there. If you start changing your goals every couple of months, then there's no point in setting your goals.
But sometimes the obstacles, not only obstacles. Sometimes, something you cannot even deal with. Something will just prevent you to do your goal, for example. Right?
Unforeseen circumstances sometimes force.
That's what I said. Then you change your strategy to reach your
And
goal.
you just change your strategy, not redefine the goal.
Redefine, I mean,
would
could
mean-
you please give me an example of redefining?
For example, when I've come here, my main objective, my main goal was to, for financial reasons, okay? But since I've been here, I have redefined my goals. Financial objective is not my ultimate goal anymore. It has given me time to think and reflect on my life and other things that I want to give. Do you understand?
I totally understand.
So that is where the redefinition comes in.
You know what did you do? Here was your financial goal.
Yeah.
What you did, basically you achieved your financial goal once you are here.
Okay.
And then you added another goal in your maybe spiritual or social life to do something else. So that is an evolution process. You reach your goal and then you have a new goal for yourself.
Okay.
You make another goal for you. So this is an never-ending exercise. Every time you achieve, let's say you have 30 goals in your worksheet. So every time you reach a goal, replace it with something else. Don't just leave that column blank. So after coming here, your primary goal was satisfied. Financial security or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
But after that, something else became more important. So then you decided, okay, you will be spending more time maybe on social things than this thing. So your weightage will change as you progress in your career. That is absolutely true and that should be done.
Okay. Makes sense.
I think we have time for one more question, but after that, if there are questions, we can take it.
Great question. If you are like in, of course, we live in societies, communities, and so forth. So should it be like you develop, of course, your own personal goals, but should it be within the what we call the community goals, if there is an existing one? Like, for example, if you work in a hospital, for example, they have their own goals. Okay, if you work in a department, if you work in a capital or a city, big city, if you work in this world. So you have to be like within these borders, or you have to be by yourself?
No, you have to be within your borders. You see, here we are talking about your career goals only. Okay, so let's say these are the goals of the hospital, and these are your goals, your personal career goals. Here you will be working here. You won't go for the goals which are beyond the scope of your hospital goals. Your goals should be in line with your hospital goals. Of course, for the career purpose, wherever you are working, it has to be in line with your institution or wherever you are working. There should not be conflict. Because if there is no overlap, you are at the wrong place. You better either change your career objectives or you change the place. there has to be some overlap between your own personal career goals and the goals of that institution. Otherwise, there won't be any fit. And normally they make sure when they hire you, I don't know about the hospital, but generally in the multinationals, they ensure a good fit with the organizational culture before they hire you. I think we have ran out of time, but I would like to thank you for your participation. You had been a great audience. I believe I have given you all the secrets of goal setting. These are not secrets, these are techniques. If you have learned one new thing today, I'll be a happy person. Hopefully you would have learned many new things. But just remember, knowing does not change anything. Doing does.
That's right.
I have given you the compass, ladies and gentlemen. Now please stay on course. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I have the slides for you. Just pass on. Oh, thank you very much.